DDP taking on Sean Strickland 2. Typically when he was orthodox, he would throw that body kick and he also go high. Once again, we talked about in the Mighty Cast. How do you fight somebody who prioritizes defense over offense?
Defensively, he is tricky to deal with. He prioritizes defense over offense. He doesn't take chances.
If somebody is completely defending everything you do and not really opening up and exposing himself, you have to make what he gives you work. DDP's punch doesn't really come like this. I mean, they do come straight, but they come like this. They come over his guard all the time. He slips that jab, boom, lands that beautiful spinning back elbow. He gets in that high guard from his K1 days. So if Sean Strickland was to throw a looping right hand, it's blocked. Or a looping right hand, or a high kick, everything is blocked. His hands don't have to move far. They're here. And that was probably the biggest shot of the fight, is when he broke his nose. What's going on, boys? Welcome back to the channel. We have the Void video breakdown for you. DDP taking on Sean Strickland 2. This is a rematch. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to go live. Now, here we go. This was highly anticipated rematch because the first time these two fought, a lot of people thought Sean Strickland won. I had a DDP winning their first fight, and I picked him to win this fight over Sean Strickland because we had DDP on the Mighty Cast, and he said that Sean Strickland tends to prioritize defense over offense. And I think when DDP put it into that, you know, laid it out there like that, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense because he likes to get that Philly shell style. But let's go ahead and, you know, break down some of these still photos that the producer has put together of us. The biggest thing that stuck out to me was this, the staph infection. I'm shocked nobody asked him about that in a post fight. Hopefully he elaborates on that. Maybe he was also on antibiotics. That could also affect his performance, because antibiotics kills pretty much all your gut biome and your good bacteria, your bad bacteria, and your gut is a huge indicator of how you react in your cardio. So, but let's get through these photos. But relatively, they're pretty much the same height. So I'm pretty sure their reach advantage is probably, none of them have a reach advantage. It's probably almost even. What's going on, guys? This episode on the Mighty Cast is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game which you can play directly from your phone. It's very simple. All you gotta do is go to your app store, download PrizePicks. And when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MIGHTY. They had a cool promotion going on right now. All you gotta do is play $5 and you're gonna win $50 no matter what happens in the fights or in the NFL game. Speaking of NFL, we won 2 picks. Okay, right here, Saquon Barkley, 2 receptions, and Buckley was all over the place. And then here is the meat and potatoes of the pick. We went with Jalen Hurts to throw 2 touchdown passes. Barkley went with 57 rushing yards, and we had him at less at 112.5 yards. And then the kicker, Elliott, with 48.5 field goal yards. We were really stressing out on this kick. We went with less with Tatiana Suarez landing her takedowns. They had her landing like 5 takedowns. We went with less on that. And then we also went with less. Rodolphe Boloto, we went more with him to land 1 takedown. He got that. Then we went 1 with Wayne Kong. She got 1. And then Tata Suarez only landed 1 takedown. They predicted she would land 4. And then where I dropped the ball, I went with more with DDP with significant takedowns. They had him landing 3.5. I went with more. And the reason why is because the last time him and Sean Strickland fought, he landed fucking 6 takedowns, and I went back and I looked, and I'm usually a less guy because a lot of stuff can happen in the fight, and a lot of people don't typically choose to wrestle in mixed martial arts. So I dropped the ball, but you know, I had a good time, you know, making these picks at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Yeah, I thought so. So right there, it's even. 76, 76, 185, 185, 6'1", pretty much identical. Only thing is different is he's younger, 31 years old. And once again, there is that staph infection. So if he was on antibiotics, I fought on antibiotics before and it absolutely sucks balls. So that's something that we hopefully will find out in the future. But here is DDP. He will go from southpaw to orthodox, And then he would always come up super close with a high guard. And this is typically, you know, DDP, Sean Strickland style. He has his hands up. It's not a Philly shell style, but you would see DDP do this. He'll go here, southpaw, and then he'll go back to this way, orthodox. Typically, when he was orthodox, he would throw that body kick, and you also go high. But DDP was doing a good job of being unorthodox, because when he changes the playing field of this stance to orthodox, different things become available and different things come unavailable to the attacker and the defender, if that makes sense for you guys to keep up. You know, it's like playing Battlefield, you know. A1, boom, you suck my battleship. But right here, in a very unorthodox style. But this is one of the things I've always said about Sean Strickland when he tries to counterattack. He's not in a set stance where he's here, and if he throws, you know, a right hook, I'm not gonna block like this or out here, right? He's kind of out like this, right? So it's very herky-jerky movement. I've always said that before with Sean Strickland. So it can't be bop bop. It can't bop bop. He's not in a stance where he where you look at when Yuri Prohaska countered Jamal Hill. Yuri has that awkward stance, but he's also moving and he can strike. To Rashawn, he's so prioritizing defense that he gets out of there and he doesn't want to get hit. Where sometimes it's better to get hit so you get in a position to actually hit your opponent. That's one of the things that Haru would talk about in AMC days. He goes, if you're always trying to run away from the fight here, then you're not going to get the opportunity to actually fight somebody, because they're going to try to hit you. And when they try to hit you, you got to try to hit them, or take that shot and just don't make sure the shot that you get hit by is absorbed 1000% so you can hit them back. But look at where the hands are at. And granted, every exchange is going to be a pinpoint boxing, you know, earbush block and all that stuff. But just look at the hand difference, the hand placement of Sean Strickland. It's almost all over the place, right? And then even, you know, you see he's landing and his hands are up there. But typically when DDP is defending, he's like this. He kind of gets his hands here and he's here and he brings it up high. It's never really boom, hands are out. To a Sean Strickland in the past, he tends to use his hands everywhere, because typically his hands are like this. But once again, it works well for Sean Strickland, that not everybody can do what Sean Strickland does. Like if I try to fight with Sean Strickland, I can't do it. And right there, see, I thought Sean Strickland bit through this, through his lip. I've done that before when I fought Ian McCall the first time. I came through the void. He did a right hand, landed right there, because you don't have a mouthpiece on your bottom. Like Eddie Alvarez, he wears a mouthpiece on both sometimes, but I think he bit through that. But Stone Cold look on his face. But once again, I'm curious if he was on antibiotics. I'm very, very curious, because that is fresh, boys. That's not a spider bite. He didn't get that spider bite in Australia. That's not a Huntsman spider. Okay. And DDP was very, very dynamic in his strikes. Once again, the kicks, the punch, the heat-seeking punches, the spinning back kick, and those were landing, right? Like, look at that. Look, I mean, that land perfectly on the floor to rib. And DDP was doing very well against, you know, Sean Strickland, for what Sean Strickland was able to allow happen, right? Once again, we talked about on the Mighty Cast. How do you fight somebody who prioritizes defense over offense? If somebody is completely defending everything you do and not really opening up and exposing himself, then you have to make what you have to make what he gives you work. And you even heard it multiple times from Sean Strickland's corner. Come on, I need more output. I need more from you. So DDP was doing his best to bring something out of Sean Strickland, bring out a fight, while also trying to minimize his damage. Because a lot of people don't understand, even though DDP's beating the hell out of him, you're still beating up your body. Now here's that body kick that he kept on doing. Once again, look at that body kick. It lands and you see DDP's falling backwards. So I'm sure he's like, you know, Sean Strickland threw a punch, he caught and went boom. It's almost an off balance kick. Actually, this kick brings him back on balance. His weight's going this way. He throws this kick. As he throws that kick, it's going to ricochet back off as it's going to back on balance. One of the things I would love to be able to do in the near future is be able to show you guys different techniques that the athletes use, that they throw in the fight, and how it works and how they're able to do it. And it looks awkward, but it's actually boom. You throw it, boom, and you get back on balance. But beautiful technique from DDP. And he is in a position to get hit, but that, you know, that's the whole thing about this technique, is that he's in a position to get hit, but if he throws a hit and overextends a right hand, that's going to land even more, because Sean Strickland's arm is going to be extended and that floater rib is going to be expanded, right? A ribs, you guys know how ribs work. It's like this, you know, this is very, you know, elementary how ribs, you have your lungs, you have your kidney, you know, your liver, and your spine. So when you're here, your ribs aren't contracted, but when you extend, these ribs open up, and that's when they're most vulnerable, and that's how you tear cartilage, and that's how you break your ribs. But when you're not, when I'm like this, I'm not extended, so my ribs are laid out flush. But once I extend my arm to try to punch somebody, my ribs become open, and if they're open, that floater is going to get cracked, and that's also a liver shot too. So good job from DDP for hitting that beautiful 9 to the body. Beautiful Dutch kickboxing. And there's that heat-seeking missile, right? We always talk about it. DDP's punch doesn't really come like this. I mean, they do come straight, but they come like this. They come over his guard all the time. And then look, Sean Strickland, once again, is prioritizing defense. He's running backwards, totally off balance. Even if Sean wanted to counter, he could. This is coming out to hit DDP on the head, but there's no power there, and it's going to be his thumb. There's no power there. It's more of a slap, because all Sean Strickland's weight is going away from DDP. Instead, if he wanted to counter, he can't do like a check left hook and drive the weight across DDP this way, because he's going that way. So it's just basically Sean Strickland being out of stance and trying to counter when he can't counter because he's off balance. So good on DDP for, you know, like I said, trying to take this Sean Strickland when somebody prioritizes defense over offense. You got to make, you know, lemons out of lemonade. And here's a spinning back fist. Like I said before, his arsenal of different dynamic attacks was very good. Very good choice. And you land right here. Boom. Right here. Comes closer. Boom. Spinning back elbow. Let's watch that one more time. Like, once again, and Sean Strickland does well when he's going forward, not when he's going backwards, right? But here's DDP trying to get across the void. I'm going to just play it fast motion, right? Here comes void. He slips that jab, right? Boom, lands that beautiful spinning back elbow. And it didn't land on the point of the elbow, but it landed on the tricep. Still, beautiful shot and different dynamic of the fight. But look, he is exposing himself, right? Because right now, let's say that it didn't land, Sean Strickland gets his back. DDP did a good job of bringing the fight to Sean Strickland and exposing himself, because right there, he does expose his back, and Sean Strickland could have climbed on his back. We've seen it done before with Alexa Grasso and Valentina Shevchenko. She did a spinning back kick. What happens? Alexa Grasso gets on her back, chokes her out. So that's DDP. If somebody says, oh, well, DDP didn't really try, here's proof right here. Man just exposed his back, try to hit the man with a spinning back elbow, and hits him and lands right here. Slow motion. Bwah! Beautiful. And there's a high kick. Whew. But once again, like I said, when you go back and you watch where people's hand placing where they should be, look at guys like Ilia Topuria and Alexandre Topuria. People throw high kicks and body kicks from them all the time. What do? X block, X block, X block. Where are their hands? They're up high. They're up high, so if anything comes, they can move and throw and counter, right? With Sean Strickland hands being in that Philly shell style, he has to make a decision. And that decision is, okay, if it's a body, it's going to go here. If it's head, it's here. He has to literally bring his hands to those positions in order to block. And you're dealing with milliseconds in there. And that's why this kick lands flush on his face with these beautiful African toes, that it's not the shin. But he gets there and lands that shot because he's not in a position to do an X block. These are the important things when you have your hands down and you're inside the void or at the edge of the void. You got to have your hands up. If Sean Strickland was further outside the void, he can have those hands down. But once again, this is something that Sean Strickland's done his whole entire career, and DDP was able to capitalize on it. But let's take a moment to appreciate the beautiful kick from DDP. Beautiful kick. You know, this is there. Then there's the foot. Beautiful kick. All right, let's continue. But boom. And that was probably the biggest shot of the fight, is when he broke his nose. He landed that right hand, broke his nose, and you saw Sean Strickland. He was grimacing, grabbing his nose and fixing. He was able to reset it. But every single time, DDP will come in with a shot. Look at the technique. Punch it right through him. Great technique. Great technique. This is a good way to learn how to draw, boys. Great technique from DDP right there. Push it through, and then once again, open guard from Sean Strickland. But it was a great 5-round fight from DDP. And once DDP hurt him, you see he's trying to get all over him. Try to get all over him. And not once, it's very interesting, not once did Sean Strickland try to go for a takedown. Not once. He has a great jiu-jitsu background from what I hear. Decent wrestling, but he never went for a takedown, which shocks me. It's, you know, I talk about all the time, when you're doing mixed martial arts and things aren't going your way on the feet, that this is the only sport that you can change the dynamic of the fight. If you're grappling somebody and you cannot pass their guard, or you cannot get off bottom, or you can't sweep them, you have to stay in jiu-jitsu. But in mixed martial arts, I can stand up and punch you in the face. Or I can't deal with the stand up, I can try for a takedown. Or I can't do none of that, I can clinch you. If you're playing basketball, if the guy's too tall, you can't get to the hole, you're stuck in that game. This is the only game, the only sport you can do that in. And nobody really does that. And I'm shocked Sean Strickland never did that. But DDP with the onslaught, he smells blood. The lion smells blood in the water against the men. Trying to finish. And there's Sean Strickland grimacing. Not gonna lie to you guys. This is the first thing I thought of when I saw this picture. I'm gonna throw this in here real quick. Dr. Robotnik. Not gonna lie. This get up from Sean Strickland. I mean, you guys can make out which one you think will be the best picture, but I figured I just gotta show this real quick. I just thought of this real quick. I'm just gonna show you. Tell me I'm not wrong, okay? Tell me I'm not wrong right there, boys. Tell me I'm not wrong. I feel like that looks like Dr. Robotnik. That's the first thing I thought of. Okay, let's get back on track. Okay, let's go. But once again, real quick, this is another thing that gets DDP so close. This high guard. He gets in that high guard from his K1 days, kickboxing days, and gets close to see what his opponent's going to do. His hands aren't down. So if Sean Strickland was to throw a looping right hand, it's blocked. Or a looping right hand. Or a high kick. Everything is blocked. He doesn't have to, his hands don't have to move far. They're here. That's what makes him so good. Same thing with Ilya Topuria get close, and then he'll get his hands up high and start doing combinations. Even though this still is fixated on Sean Strickland, I can point out things that he does well. And it's not like Sean Strickland didn't have any good moments in the fight. He did. And here's one of them. He's landing a beautiful jab to DDP. Lands perfectly flush. And here's Sean DDP going back at him with a beautiful right hand. Lands it. And this man he really took it to his opponents. And there it is. Those two sharing it out, hugging it out after the fight. It was a grueling fight. You know, they fought for fucking 50 minutes. 25 the first, 25 the second. And they have nothing but respect for both those guys. They're sharing it with each other. Just, what is all that? Is that fucking hay on his back? And there is DDP retaining his belt in Australia on his second title defense. Absolutely amazing. Beats Sean Strickland, beats Izzy Adesanya, and, you know, retains his title and in a dominant fashion. Like, he is very, very good. The unorthodox, the untiming, the on the rhythm person is doing. It's going very well for him. Now let's take a look at the Compu strike. Now that's crazy because typically Sean Strickland's output is higher than his opponent's, but 147 landed to 314 to 128 to 126, 48 to 46. Put on there. 2 takedowns attempts. He landed half of them. None behind Sean Strickland, which is very, very, very weird. that always makes you question, why not? Why not Strickland? Yeah, I had it 45-50. Maybe one around the Strickland, maybe, but I had it 50-45 for Dricus Du Plessis. Still knocks? I don't know what that means. Right here. Make it happen in 2025. Now, this is the thing. I hope they do, you know, Alex Pereira has a big fight on his hands. He is taking on Magomed Ankalaev, where we have Dricus Du Plessis, who's taking on Khamzat Chimaev. Now, once those guys get past their relatively next opponents, then I'll love to see these guys running. I would say 2026. I think 2025 is a little bit too soon, but he says make it happen at 205. And it'll give DDP the opportunity to become a double champion. That would be huge if he can win that. You know, Alex Pereira has already been a middleweight champion. He's already been the light heavyweight champion, and we can see. But like I said before, the Wolf is next in line for the belt. Can Khamzat stay healthy enough to make it to the title shot and make weight? I think he can. And right here, let's see what he says. I don't know. Okay, ADC. Mighty Mouse gives Sean Strickland advice. The teeps, the push kicks, he's been doing that style for the last 4 years of his career, and he'll do it for the next 4 years. In order to get better, you have to swallow your ego and force yourself to evolve and learn new tools. And that's 1000% correct. You have to. I've done it in my career, right? And or if you, once again, Sean Strickland could come back and clap back and says, I don't want to get better. I don't want to learn new tools. I don't want to do that. That's totally fine. You can't expect better results, right? That's called insanity, right? This is the one sport that you can learn new tools and apply it in the actual fight. Granted, in football, basketball, baseball, you can learn new tools, but those new tools don't change the dynamic of the game, meaning that, you know, it's baseball. You're stuck in that one realm. If Sean Strickland would have put a legit 6 to 8 months in grappling, working on, okay, I'm going to get a better rhythm and pop, you know, move, pop, pop, okay, boom, pop, pop, move, pop, 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 move. It's going to pay way more dividends for his overall game than him continue to spar and train the way he does, because he's done it for the last 4 years. If we look, you know, and once again, when I do this, I always say I'm not the perfect athlete, right? But when I train, when I fought, I always strive to be the perfect and the best embodiment of mixed martial arts. And I want to pull something real quick just to take a look at his record. Just so I feel, when I said this, I feel comfortable saying this. So let's go Sean Strickland. Okay, let's just take a look at his. Okay, so the last 4 years, so we're 2025. So let's go back to 2021. Shit, we'll go back to 2020. So 2020, he beat Brandon Allen. Okay, let's go back and see what that style looked like when he fought Brandon Allen. YouTube. I'm not gonna show you guys the full fight, but we're gonna show just a little bit of it. I'm gonna watch it with my own eyes to see if it's the exact same style. Okay, Sean Strickland versus Brandon Allen. Brendan Allen. Okay.
Allen, the taller.
We're gonna do it. So you guys know I'm watching the fight. Let's see. Okay. Philly shell style, still waiting there. 1-2, gets out of there. Right hand, backing up, catches the kick, doesn't go for a takedown. He gets a takedown. Not really trying to pass guard, holding the feet. Okay, he goes into his guard instead of trying to pass guard. Okay, let's fast forward. That's the first minute of the fight. Okay, he has his back. He's beating him up. No takedown, lets him go. 1-2, backs up, grabs his nose, back into Philly shell style, back to boxing. Okay, if I take this same image of Sean Strickland and throw him in 2025 fight last night, it'll be the same character. So he hasn't really evolved in the last 4 years. And he will continue to do the same thing because Sean Strickland is... How old is he? Sean Strickland is 33. So he's 33. Can you teach a 33-year-old? Can you force a 33-year-old athlete who's been a world champion to make new tools? Time will only tell, boys. Time will tell. I have to see what people say about that. Michael Wandsworth is all over Twitter. He gets shit all the time. They're gonna hate me for this, boys. They're gonna hate me for this. Swallow your ego and force yourself to evolve. And there is DDP once again. The lion yells out and victorious. So congrats to DDP. Congrats to Sean Strickland. Once again, I hope all these guys the best in their career, and I hope they stay healthy. And I can't wait to see what's next for DDP, and I can't wait to see what Sean Strickland does next with his style, and see if he comes back to the octagon with some new tools. So boys, if you enjoyed this Void video breakdown, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, and also hit the bell to know when we go live.